Check out the Liverpool frames in the background. Let me go too biased. Whatever. Cristiano Ronaldo to Man United, otherwise known as a transfer that's kind of been tearing up the world at the moment. I would say football world, but it's tearing up the world at the moment. And so pretty much, yep, Ronaldo returned to United for a fee of 27 million euros, I think. Might be pounds, who knows? Well, someone probably knows, just not me. And yeah, so if you've been living under a rock, basically that's what happened. And the thing is, not a lot of teams, but when he announced he was leaving Juventus, because this is a key part here, he wanted to leave Juventus. We'll go into the reasons after this. He was going to go to City, Manchester burned itself down, then he went to United, Manchester rebuilt itself up in the space of like 12 hours. Love to see it. And so pretty much, he really wanted to leave Juventus. Days before he got the move, days before a fee was agreed with any other club, those reports, and he cleaned out his locker at Juventus. He already said bye to his teammates. He was done. He was off. He flew to Portugal before to have a medical. He didn't even care what club he was at. He just wanted to leave Juventus. And it is a bold. It's a bit bold, not really, because a player like him isn't gonna be free agent for that long. And let's be real, it's not career mode. And Messi stays free agent for 3 years. But pretty much, and we'll talk about why I want to leave United. And why he wanted to leave Juventus, and why him leaving Juventus is kind of good for both parties. So when Ronaldo arrived at Juventus summer of 1819, he just won the Champions League with Real Madrid, and he wanted a new challenge. And so people say he wasn't as good at Juventus as he was at Real Madrid, but we do have to consider one really strong thing, which a lot of people have been talking about. You may have seen a few threads or whatnot on Twitter, and it's the midfield. So if we look at the midfield he had at Real when he won the Champions League in the 18-19 season, he left during the World Cup, so he had Casemiro, Kroos, and Luka Modric behind him, arguably one of the greatest midfields of all time. That's why they won 3 Champions Leagues in a row with that midfield, and that's why Real weren't really the same without him. So notice how Real weren't the same without the striker, but he needed the midfield, so you need both parties. However, Juventus, when he went to Juventus, and even when he was at Real Madrid, remember, Benzema was in the middle and Bale was on the side of Benzema. And on their day, they were like the best attack in the world. We're talking MSN levels. This was a bit after MSN, but they were like the best attack in the world for a while. So when he goes to Juventus, and he doesn't really have that much of an attack, and in the midfield behind him, and the main problem with Juventus midfield is you had Pirlo, Pogba, and Vidal. Vidal in his prime was quite good. You had him like 2015-16. So then they saw that, and they kind of thought they could replicate that with Ardien Rabiot, Aaron Ramsey, and Emre Can. No disrespect to Emre Can, loved him here at Liverpool, but the thing is, one thing all of these players have in common is they all joined the club for a free transfer. So the thing is, I remember people talking about, oh, Juventus can have a whole midfield, free midfield. But it's not really a great thing, is it? Because all that means is they're not really investing that much money into the midfield. Meanwhile, they're spending £33 million on Douglas Costa, when maybe, logistically, he isn't the greatest attacker to put next to Ronaldo. So he doesn't have the great attacker on at Juventus, he doesn't have the midfield. Juventus can't even win the Champions League when they are good. So things just aren't working for Ronaldo, he wants to leave Juventus, fair enough. So now he's going to United. So he's in a tougher league, the Premier League, but he does, instead of having Rabiot, Ramsey, and Emre Can behind him, I know those are the midfielders, let's just use that for the sake of argument. He has Bruno Fernandes, he has Paul Pogba, 2 of the best center mids in the world. There's also Scott McTominay and Fred, we won't talk about them. He has Pogba, he has Bruno Fernandes, 2 of the best center mids in the world. So, the thing is, clicked on this video, oh, Ronaldo's gonna flop, surely not. Was that video just to clickbait you, and I'm gonna say something completely different? So, could he flop? Maybe, maybe not. I know, really cunning analysis. Let's take a look at Bruno Fernandes first, because he's the main Portuguese connection we're looking at. So he's played 83 games for United. He's had 43 goals and 25 assists. So one thing which is interesting, no surprise, he's been banging him and slotting him to the side. That's not really a good term for an assist, but he's been banging him in and assisting him as well. It seems like every game since he joined United not too long ago. And the thing is, one thing I originally kind of signed him as a playmaker, because you have an attack like Rashford, there's nothing wrong with Rashford. I'm not a Tory, there's nothing wrong with Rashford. It's just injured at the minute, has been injured a few times. You're going to want someone maybe to build him around, because he's still really young, so he can grow. But Rashford's probably the strongest option. Of course, you brought Sancho in, and you have Martial and Cavani. Cavani was kind of a backup striker role last year, but was good improving, but he's kind of old. Tony Martial is kind of Tony Martial. His greatest career achievement so far is being mentioned on Dave's new album. But, so you have to think, with Ronaldo being that strong striker, you have a fully fit Rashford, and then you have Sancho. Ronaldo could be that asset that Rashford kind of needs to grow. So the thing is, but one thing I have to look at is back in the midfield. Pogba has seen so many different United attacks in front of him, and he's been good without. He's been consistent throughout. Regardless of what Graham Souness thinks, he's been consistent throughout. And then you have Bruno Fernandes, who has been scoring a lot of goals. But here's a problem. Think when Bruno joined United. They were kind of competing for Arsenal to get the Europa League, right? That's where they were. Now they're like kind of favorites to win the title, kind of joint favorites like Chelsea and City. So they've come a long way, you could say. They did lose the Europa League final to Villarreal, which was very funny, and they do still play David De Gea and Victor Lindelof and Scott McTominay and Fred every week. They don't have to play Dan James anymore. They sold him to Leeds, but pretty much Bruno has done a lot for United. He arguably kind of turned United around. Is he the main part? There are other parts, but he kind of turned United around. And when you look at him like that, and now Ronaldo is expected to be the top goal scorer. We've all seen the memes on Twitter about Ronaldo taking free kicks now, Ronaldo taking penalties. I mean, I had to tell this story that Bruno take them. I know he's been at the club, but he's Ronaldo. Like, surely he's going to take the pens. How can it be Penaldo and get bullied by 12-year-olds on Twitter if he doesn't take the pens? So he's going to be taking the pens, he's going to be taking the free kicks, not that big a deal. I mean, take pens away from Bruno, he might still get like 3 goals a season, but you just have to think, when you have Bruno kind of cut off as a scoring option, then you have his he can create. He's a really good creative player, he creates a lot of chances. That's not a phrase. But he creates lots of chances, Bruno. He creates loads, right? But the thing is, he's more of an attacking midfielder, he scored us more. So Bruno's gonna have a different role. Just regardless, straight off the bat, he's gonna have a different role. And that's just the first thing. So how's that gonna affect them? Because Ronaldo is good, but we saw at Juventus that if the midfield isn't functioning, he's not gonna do too well. I mean, he's still quite good. I mean, he's done better because he's Ronaldo and he does have high standards, but he really wanted to leave He really wanted to leave Juventus. So if he doesn't have the strong midfield, Pogba will be Pogba. I think we've assured that. But if Bruno's going to be a different role, we saw that a lot of his game relies heavily on his scoring. And if he's not going to be able to do the scoring, because he's expected to feed the ball to Ronaldo, because if not, he might get a bottle thrown at him at Old Trafford, then that could affect his game. And also, so if he has to rely on assists, that's not even half his game. He can do so much scoring and so much attacking and link up with Pogba, who Pogba will probably still be phenomenal, regardless. I think that Bruno, if he loses the scoring part, because he has to give it to Ronaldo, and he doesn't even get the pens and free kicks, then that could affect Bruno's game. And we all saw United before Bruno. It wasn't pretty. It was, because I'm a Liverpool fan. It was hilarious. It was so funny. I kind of wish they were that bad, still. If we're not going to get the good Bruno, could that mean they were assessed to back as they were? Could that mean the midfield's weaker? We see the same sort of problem they were at Juventus. We still have Sancho and we still have Rashford up front. That's a strong front three. Rashford, Ronaldo, Sancho. That's a very strong front three. But you need the midfield. And that all relies on Bruno Fernandes, as we saw. Pogba, no discredit to Pogba, it's just he's not the type of player that completely transforms in midfield. Pogba's the type of player, like, he kind of puts in a shift, and he'll do whatever you want phenomenally, and he'll never get credit for it. But, which, last part is a good thing, it's just the sad truth. So, you have Bruno, a player that converts midfield, and we saw him when he arrived in January, not too long ago. But, if he's not going to be doing that, could we see, like, a Europa League level United midfield, and how is it going to respond to that attack? I mean, one thing they do have over Juventus is I did mention, like, Juventus were kind of spending £33 million on Douglas Costa when United do have the assets in attack of Sancho and Rashford. So that is one thing to think about. But can that attack function without a midfield? If Bruno Fernandes' game is mitigated, is stifled, Pogba will still probably be good, but then you do have to still rely on Fred and McTominay. Because let's not be unrealistic. Let's not say Van de Beek's going to play anytime soon. He should, just he's not gonna. Again, the sad truth. That's usually how it goes with United. Not very well run. I mean, I'm a Liverpool fan. Not saying our club is very well run either. Really, the only 2 well-run clubs in the country are Leicester and #United. Let's be real. Yeah. So, just a few interesting points. You can put your torches and pitchforks down. I probably should have mentioned this earlier. If your torch has been running throughout this entire video, well, you know how to make a torch. Well done. Still a fire hazard though, so you might want to put that one out. I don't necessarily think he's gonna flop. Ronaldo's Ronaldo. I'm really excited to see him in the Premier League, even from a rival fan. And if anything, I joked about how I liked when United were bad, but it's also good to see him at a full strength. So then we can have that classic Liverpool versus United when we're both phenomenal, and we don't have to watch 2 0-0 draws every year. And get really excited to watch a 0-0 draw every year. 2 of them actually, 2 0-0 draws. Except they were alright. That we beat them at Old Trafford last season, and we had that game in the FA Cup, which we did lose, but it was a good game. Other one, what was it? 0-0 draw? Probably was. So anyway, a bit of an interesting take again. I don't necessarily think it's gonna flop. Please don't punt my cat. Don't have a cat. Please don't buy me a cat just to punt it. That would be a lot of effort. Still really messed up. A lot of effort. Didn't say it's good. Just a lot of effort. Anyway, yeah, just being obsessively annoying now. So see you in the next one.